Welcome to Sidelines, a 30-minute talk show on UTVS, also on KVSC right here. Guys, a little bit of a sad day. My last time sitting in the big old chair talking with you guys. I'm joined alongside Leif, wore the all-time Packer jersey. Katie Emmer joins us again. Sauce Man and the Twins get up. And we got AJ with the Wild over here. Guys, we're going to start with some MLB right away and talk about, some new rules they just implemented this year. Talk a little bit about the Twins, how they're doing. I know you guys said it right away, oh, they're so bad, but we're going to be positive, talk a little bit about them. And then later we will get to some college basketball predictions, NHL trade deadline, and so a lot to cover, guys, in 30 minutes. So I want to start, of course, with the MLB, but for people who weren't on the show last week, I know Sauce Man wasn't on the show. I told you a little story about, remember the Twins and how Joe Mauer, had a hole-in-one. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Played a little guess who.
Getting some blank stares here. All right. So I'm going to start off again with another golf story.
All right.
There was another Twins player. Okay, I'm not going to say who it is. It's a little bit of a trivia to start off with. So don't look it up, AJ, and cheat on your computer there. Another Twins player was golfing on his day off, and he was on a par 5. Hits a great drive down the middle. Sets up to hit his next shot. Pulls out a 3-wood, puts it in for a double eagle. Which Twin did it this time?
Are they a recent Twin?
Yep.
Like right now?
Yep. Yes.
Was it Joe Mauer again?
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
It was Joe Mauer again. So Joe Mauer gets a hole-in-one, and the next week he goes out and he gets a double eagle.
I think he might be better at golf than baseball.
I think we maybe should
no kidding.
I know. We might need to sign up for something else, but I thought that was a pretty funny story. But yes, talking about the Twins a little bit, guys. They haven't played all of their starters yet. I know it was Joe Mauer's first day playing yesterday. He's been too busy on the golf course. But, he was back. What have you guys seen with their training camp games so far?
Well,
They're young.
They definitely
I
are.
think it's safe to say that. And I think our pitching staff even, it's like we don't have any. I mean, we have Gibson, we have somewhat solid pitchers with Duffy and some of the younger guys, but we just don't have a good pitching staff. I think we just need to get some top guys in there. I think it starts obviously with pitching, but we lose Plouffe. Dozier is still there, still holding on. Hopefully he can contribute some hits this season with Mauer, but again, I think the young term is a key, and pitching is key with them. So
We need to get a nice supporting cast for Dozier. We've
His
been
talent's going
the
to
Minnesota Doziers. Like he's been doing everything. The last 2 years, he's been doing everything.
He's coming off like the quietest 40 home run season ever.
Yeah, exactly.
it is. It would be hard to have that much success hitting, and then your team just doesn't end up.
It's hard to be that good in your teams now.
Yeah.
So we need a little bit of supporting cast for the Twins.
I'm supporting them. I'm getting on that bandwagon right away because you know what? I got some high hopes from.
You're getting on a bandwagon? What?
Well, they're not a bandwagon
what's
yet.
new with that one?
Well, you're wearing a whole Twins
Boom,
get
got
up
her.
here,
I've been a
Sauce
Twins
Man.
fan since I was like.
So are you rooting for them
5.
this year? Or?
Yeah, I'm rooting for him. I don't got a lot of faith in him.
Okay.
Still gonna be a long
that's what
time
it is.
before
Well,
they start
they got
moving
31
on.
games you guys left to be played. Lots of time left. I know they're slowly getting guys into the lineup. So, like I said, Joe Mauer's first day was yesterday. But enough about the Twins. 2 new rules were implemented. AJ brought that to my attention. First, I want to talk about the automatic walk new rule. All it's pretty much saying is instead of the pitcher throwing four balls, the manager is going to come out and it's going to help quicken up the game and just make him walk instead of having to throw those pitches.
I don't know how much that's going to do for the game.
Yeah,
to be honest with you.
I think there's other things that are still gonna slow it down. I don't know.
It's it's
baseball.
It's
I
gonna
mean,
take
it's
maybe like 30 seconds out of it, but I think that takes the whole pressure off the pitcher because how many times have we seen
Right.
it happened in college? It was the other day. I think it was TCU. They won in extra innings or the 9th inning off a guy who was trying to get intentional walked. Pitcher overthrows it twice, steal the second, steal the third, and then one more time they steal home. That's how they win. Like
sometimes there's accidents like that. Like
and that takes that
takes a little bit of pressure off.
out of the game. Definitely.
Quickens up the game. I
So
know.
AJ, would you recommend just throwing it right at the hitter right away? Just beam them, walk them.
I mean, you might as well.
Oh yeah, you
Send
never
a
know.
message. Just straight power moves only.
Get out of my zone. Get out of my box.
And then the other rule they added was they were going to add replay time. So from 5 seconds to 30 seconds, kind of giving the, people up top in the press box more, not press box, but more time to, debate whether or not they want to replay a situation or question a call. So not huge, obviously big rules, not really gonna cause a lot of effect, but just kind of quickening up the game. And what do you think of that last rule?
I mean, that's exactly what you need.
I was gonna say I like that.
It helps out other teams.
You need to make baseball a little quicker. And at the same time, I think it's almost like, if you think it's too boring or whatever, then it's just not the right sport for you. It's it's
America's pastime,
it's
man.
a certain demographic that loves watching baseball. And some people just aren't part of that. But if you like it, stick with it. If not, find something else.
Right. I
Hit the road.
kind of a side note, but for people that watch and follow the St. Cloud Rocks, one of their players from Kentucky, he was on ESPN once again last night for a huge catch he had in the outfield. Marcus Carson, he plays for Kentucky. But no, I didn't realize how, I guess, slow the game of baseball really is until you have to watch it all. Also, I watched it all summer, watched the Rocks a lot, and I mean, sometimes those games went till like 11:30, 12 at night.
Well, yeah, and another thing is the game could be going super fast. You could get through 7 innings like within an hour and a half. Super, and then next thing you know, the next 3 innings take like 2 hours.
Yeah, you get
right.
Like it's a straight toss. Yeah, exactly.
You get a pitching change.
Especially once you get to like even the MLB level. It's all politics there. It's all,
definitely.
The game's going too fast. Take a couple mound visits. Maybe this guy's arm isn't doing the best. Don't switch in between innings. Maybe switch him mid-inning.
Right.
Especially,
There's
it's all about money.
Switching.
It's all about money. Hey, get these guys in the concession stand a little bit more, which is kind of annoying, but it's true.
Well, guys, I also want to talk about, for the record, this wasn't me who put this on the content, the predictions this time. This was AJ. We want to know what our World Series predictions are.
Way
Cubs.
too early. Thank you.
Cubs and
I'm going Twins. Just kidding. I wanted to see.
This is coming.
I wanted to see Saucepan's prediction.
This is coming from the girl who was like, the Vikings are 5-0. What if Sam Bradford wins a Super Bowl with the Vikings?
And that really didn't happen out really well.
I think they lost almost every game after that.
No, they forgot to play outside of September.
I just put that one. I put that one out there on purpose this time. But no, the Cubs. The Cubs are obviously heavily favored. They have the same team back, very young team.
They're favored and they're good.
Also teams that are favorites are the Dodgers, Washington Nationals, and the Mets. What do you guys see in those
I like
other
the Mets
teams
a lot.
besides
I like
the Cubs?
Syndergaard and DeGrom. They got a good pitching
I mean,
staff.
Mets have the pitching style. I think
Yeah.
that's going to carry them. I mean, obviously they're bringing back a few veterans like Cespedes and Dudon. That's going to be interesting to see how they play out. I mean, they're getting up to age. We'll see how they go, but kind of one team that hasn't been talked up. I'm going to throw Boston Red Sox out there.
I totally agree with that as long as
they're
David
sick.
Price. As long
They
as
have David
Price
Price,
is healthy.
Porcello, and they just picked up Chris Sale, which has been a good, huge
that was a
pitcher.
good
I saw
pickup.
him in the Northwoods League growing up. He was in lacrosse. I saw him earlier on. I didn't know who he was, but he just had filthy stuff growing up. I mean, that'll be a new thing that happened. Obviously, they got young guys. Obviously, it'll be interesting to see what they do with the middle of their lineup with David Ortiz not around, and then kind of their setup man, Thornburg not being there, and Kimbrough. That'll be interesting to see how they do that, but they got a lot of good young talent with Bradley Jr., I think it was, that he came out of nowhere. I mean, Hanley Ramirez. I mean, so I think that'll be a team that can make some noise out of the AL East.
Yeah, and you look like you're agreeing.
No, I
with
totally
that.
agree with that.
Yeah.
That's actually that's what one of the few times Leif and I actually agree.
I was gonna say, I think we caught you on a good day today. We haven't had any arguments yet.
No,
good
you're
day.
totally right. And then you even forgot Mookie Betts, who's been phenomenal in the outfield for him. So they can hit the ball. They definitely have the bullpen. As long as that surgery with David Price goes well, I think they're going to be the top team.
Well, if he can
in the
perform
AL.
in the playoffs, I think they'll be all
That
right.
too.
I mean, he's got to get
big.
one win in the playoffs.
That's pretty important.
I mean, the NL side, I want to throw in maybe the Giants and Cardinals. I mean, like I said, Cardinals have been, at least in the postseason, for 12 seasons in a row. I mean, they know what they're doing. Obviously, it kind of a little bit back and forth. I mean, they got good pitching. Obviously, they got to figure out maybe their fifth starter, maybe what to do with Waka in between there. But, I mean, they got pretty good with Lance Lynn and an arrival Alex Reyes coming in for St. Louis.
Just added Dexter Fowler off the
Cubs
lineup,
again.
too,
So, I mean, they
sad about
boost
that.
up their outfielding, which is great for them going into them. But, I mean, like I said, that could be obviously can't forget about them because I know as much as I hate the Cardinals, though, but they know what to do when they get in the postseason. Obviously, they've been there 12 times.
Well, with a long season like baseball, we will have a lot of time to talk about, or you guys will have a lot of time to talk about more baseball coming up in the next couple weeks and all the way into the summer. But we are going to transition here, and we are going to talk about the NFL. And we're going to start with the Minnesota Vikings, as we always do.
Finally.
Adrian Peterson bringing
He's
up a lot of
gone.
news. What do we think about Adrian Peterson and the Minnesota
He
Vikings?
should have left 3 years ago. We should have got rid of him. He's
I
been nothing
was-
but a liability.
I was surprised that he was not gone 2 years ago. Obviously, he's getting up at that age. I mean, respectful. I mean, he said the right answer when I asked on his first take about, like, where do you want to see yourself, obviously, with Minnesota. But I thought he needs, I think it's time for him maybe to get a team that he can finally get a championship. He well-deserved. He's done what he's done. Almost broke Eric Dixon's record.
Yeah.
I mean, but then it's kind of interesting to see where he'll land. Obviously, on First Take, they asked him, like, just what cities interest you? I mean, he said Miami. New York was an interesting one that popped off to me.
With the Jets.
I think the Giants.
Oh,
the
Giants. Okay.
Especially with Eli Manning and Odell Beckham. And they need a
unreal
running
team.
back question with that. But then, of course, obviously, I'm not going to throw out his hometown of Texas. Obviously, there's obviously going to be rumors talked about that.
Yeah, Jerry Jones said that he wants to go after a dual kind of thing with Elliott and Peterson. There's not a chance that happens because Peterson wants to be the main guy.
That'd be kind of cool, though.
I mean, I don't see it happening, though, but obviously
Huge
the talk's going
publicity
to happen
stunt.
all the time with him coming back
So
home.
say Peterson leaves, goes to the Giants. Who do the Vikings replace that big name with?
Jamal Charles.
Yeah, I was going to.
That would be disgusting. That'd be so sick.
That'd be disgusting. Perfect.
I mean, he was
In a
released
good
by
way,
Kansas City.
In a good way, I know.
as
Some
long-
people might not get your lingo, so I just wanted to emphasize on that.
No, if he's healthy, I like it. I mean, Jamal Charles, he's got the skill, he's got the speed. He's, I think, just maybe a year younger than Peterson.
Yep.
But I think that could be his chance to kind of like make a comeback as one of the premier running backs in the NFL. There's no way that the Vikings could keep Peterson.
No.
He wants to get
No.
paid
By the way,
$10 million. Then
I thought it was
next-
$18 million in
Yeah,
2017,
was it? Yeah.
or is that with
Yeah.
the $6 million
But-
bonus that he wanted from the team?
No, it would have been that $18 million, but then that's $10 million more than the next running back, LaShawn McCoy, at 8.85.
Did you guys see that thing on SportsCenter? I forgot who it was. It was some talk show, but Adrian Peterson's free agent, whatever topic was on there. And it was Stephen A. Smith and this other guy who I keep forgetting his name, but he was saying
Max Greenberg.
He was
Max
saying
Kellerman.
he was saying Adrian Peterson is a souped-up Frank Gore, and Stephen A. Smith was like, "You gotta be ashamed of yourself. Are you kidding? Are you kidding me?" He was freaking out, and all I could think of was our good friend Jeremy Lagos. I was like, "Wow, Jeremy would have been Stephen A. Smith in that situation," but
I think he's way out of his prime. Peterson is, and
Yeah.
we should have.
he's gone through a lot with
Did you
his
see
career.
the workout video that he
personal,
posted, though?
Yeah,
you know, on the
His
field,
ca-
off the field.
his career's been bouncing off the walls.
Yeah.
Good and bad.
Yeah. I want to move on from the Minnesota Vikings because every time we talk about the NFL, I know we spend way too much time on them. So I want to talk also about the Jets. Release Brandon Marshall per his request. What did you guys think of that decision?
I think it's because he lost his Rolls Royce to Antonio Brown in that bet.
You got that.
No, he's kind of a guy I would say that's a hothead.
Well, I think it's because
Gotta be it.
he's got so much talent, but he's nobody to throw the ball to him.
Yeah.
Ryan Fitzpatrick was eh.
He had that one good year.
Yeah, exactly. And then they
When
re-signed him.
Geno Smith got punched in the face, but I mean,
Broke his
That
jaw.
was so funny.
Some things that I was reading a little bit about with like the mock draft and whatnot was saying that they're looking at Clemson's quarterback. So kind of saying
Deshaun
that
Watson.
Yeah,
Watson.
Deshaun. I have the hardest time saying his name. Deshaun Watson for some reason. That he would
Wait,
go
one
there
more time,
for-
one more time, say
I
it.
know. Let's just practice it. Deshaun Watson.
Hey.
That sounds normal. All right, Deshaun
Our
Watson.
studio audience is happy.
Thank you. Everyone clap. It's looking, to go there, and it was saying that this Marshall, he's kind of a hothead, and that he would. I feel like he would. I don't know how he would react to a rookie quarterback and how nice he would be, to him saying, pass me the ball, passing the ball. You know what I mean? So I think it was saying in the article that was kind of put into the question. But what do you guys think of this kid?
That's kind of how wide receivers' mentalities are these days. I was watching an interview with Julio Jones during Super Bowl week, and they were like, "What? Why don't you act like all the other good wide receivers? Antonio Brown with all the dances, Odell Beckham Jr. with everything that guy's got going on, with all his controversy, and like Brandon Marshall, all that." And he's like, "That's just not who I am. That's not." Because that's the new level of wide receivers. Flashy. You have to dance. You have to do something spontaneous. Well, Brandon Marshall has no reason to do that, and he's one of those guys.
Right.
So he needs to get out of there. Obviously, now he is. He needs to get somewhere where he can be in the spotlight, where he has someone throwing to him that's really good, and where he can be a spotlight wide receiver. And right now, he can't be that.
Another guy that made some news a couple days ago was Johnny Manziel. He's back into this.
I love it. Comeback season.
Yes, I'm so
I'm
happy.
good. I'm glad I'm a big
That's
fan of
comeback
this guy.
season.
I
I
think
love
that
it.
He's got new arm sleeve tattoo. I'm feeling
He's
it.
a
He's
new-
back.
he's-
He's,
So he
he's
said
back
he
in.
went to the court. He said he's sober, and
Yeah,
I
I'll
guess
believe that when I see that.
he said he's been
a
sober
new
for
man.
6 months, and he's a new man. And I guess that word went to the Columbine, and I guess a lot of teams are very interested in him. So
They should be.
They should be.
I'm interested to see what this guy does, and I think he's got some championships under his belt still. I mean,
if Tim Tebow can play baseball, Johnny Manziel can come back into football.
I was going to bring that up in the discussion. I just didn't know how you guys would handle that.
Yeah, not very good. Carry on.
The Browns made the worst mistake ever by cutting him.
Yes.
That's all I'm going to say.
Well, the Browns got that brings me to the next thing. The Browns have the first they'll have the first pick in the NFL draft. Who's that going to be?
Better not be Garrett, because he's going to leave.
Yeah, it can't be Myles Garrett.
So who?
I see them trading the pick, honestly.
They should.
You see them trading a pick?
Yeah.
Trading that pick.
Okay. So
yeah.
Don't they have like 3 in the first round?
They have so many.
Yeah.
Them and the Titans have an unbelievable amount of picks.
yeah, it looks like this year in the draft there'll be a lot of
They
running
should trade
backs.
for more picks is what they need
A lot
to
of strong a year of a lot of strong running backs for the first picks of the draft. I mean, a lot of defensemen. Defense. And
I was thinking a lot of who, Bobbie?
I'm a little. I don't know where you're going with this, but
I would see him looking at the defensive side of it for
overall consensus is Myles Garrett's first overall. I think that's well established. But then, like you mentioned running backs. I want to talk about that real quick.
Yeah, that's what I want to talk about. That's what's on my notes is to talk about the running backs.
You got my boy Christian McCaffrey.
All right.
You got Leonard Fournette.
Underrated. Overrated. Leonard Fournette's not overrated.
No, he's not. He's a big boy.
McCaffrey's underrated, though.
Oh, super underrated.
So who do you have that's overrated? Oh, see, I'm seeing a lot of you're kind of
a lot of negativity over.
A lot of negativity. You're turning into AJ today. What's going on, buddy? I'm worried about you. So who do we have that's positive? That's
Chris McCaffrey. They're good. Chris McCaffrey, Leonard Fournette. They're both good running backs. But those two, they're the top two. We're just gonna talk about the top two.
Okay.
Right now. The top two. Chris McCaffrey is obviously, I think, the best running back in this class.
You also got Dalvin Cook out of Florida State.
He's good too.
He's very good.
I mean,
yes.
What about Jabril Peppers? I mean,
I think that's the biggest question mark.
But he's not a running back on the sheet.
No,
he's
not.
Safety.
He's a big boy.
He was marked as like a safety.
Well, the thing is, he plays like 8 different positions in college.
Yeah, that's what stood out to me.
I mean, he's 5'10", 213 pounds. I mean,
huge.
Yeah.
He's a truck.
But I mean, you have one position that you're going to play in the NFL. I think that's what every team is.
I mean, so far he's like.
What's he going to play?
Because, but that's good to have that problem,
That's why you go to a team and they say, what spot's open?
Like right now, some mock drafts have him going 32nd to the Patriots.
He could be kicking for the Giants. Who knows?
Some people have him going like 5th overall. I mean, you never know what's going to happen. That's probably the biggest question mark out of the entire draft.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the big talk right now. Well, have you guys ever seen, the Columbine, how they show a little bits and pieces of what's going on there and how hard those athletes work in their training? And one thing that I thought was interesting with the quarterbacks is, not only are they looking for, how strong and physical they are, but they also, they're testing them how smart they are. So one of the programs was showing how they show the quarterbacks 4 plays, and then show them really quick, and then they have them go up to the board, tell them to draw this certain play in 30 seconds, to just kind of test their knowledge to see how smart they are. So I thought that was kind of a cool thing to see with that. But we are going to transition, guys. We are going to go into we're going to start with college basketball instead of starting with the NBA, just because it's March, and March Madness is coming
right around the corner.
Right around the corner.
Kind of a big deal.
Hey, this is
not too big, obviously.
This is the best time.
It's huge.
Best time of the year for basketball, besides the Gopher basketball. I don't know if you guys have been following.
Yeah,
they've been tearing it up.
They have been tearing it up, and they're fun to watch. There's a chance that in the South.
And it's about time for them, too. They've gone through. Last year was hard with, certain players. Was that suspended or I can't remember.
Kicked off the team.
Yeah,
given the boot.
They were given the boot. Did you guys see that Gonzaga? This is another
Gonzaga.
I was gonna say this is another thing we're gonna have to practice their name. They lost their first game against BYU. They're now 29-1. They're projected to go super far. Obviously Duke's up there. Michigan, Kentucky, same teams. But what underdog teams you guys have going pretty far?
They're not really an underdog, but what about Louisville? They went through quite the transition too with their suspension or what did you call it last year?
It was like
just
pretty much they didn't do a good job. They didn't fairly recruit kids.
Yeah.
They sent them
well,
to
yeah,
what
no,
you would
but
call
like,
not a good place
what would you call it at the end?
You wouldn't bring their mother
What would
there.
you call it at the end? Like, you have no way of making it, as far as the teams that are all playing for that national championship. So it's like, what are you playing for, So I feel like
You just keep working out.
I wouldn't call them an underdog, but
I guess my underdog I'm going with it is if the Gophers can get in it. I would love to see how far they can go. I know they're not going to win it, but I'm looking for a team that's not necessarily going to win it, but going to get to the the top 4.
Wisconsin's not bad again this year.
And they
I'm all
play.
about Oregon.
Oh, that's big.
I love Oregon.
Oregon.
I love them.
Hey,
Yeah.
their court's pretty cool too.
Totally.
That's one of the best courts. Hey, they still
really
have,
squeaky.
I
They
love
just
their
did it.
jersey colors.
Oh, have you not? Have you actually?
No,
have
I
you
know
seen
what
it?
you're talking
I was
about.
gonna say,
Exactly.
get it
No,
up on
it's
that
like
computer.
Yeah, I
it's
know
like
what
a
they're
forest.
All their facilities are
Yeah,
crazy.
but this thing they just did it last or a couple years ago.
3
years ago. Okay, these
Yeah,
years fly by.
get it right.
But
Yeah,
hey, I'm glad you brought up about the Wisconsin. They play the Gophers on Sunday
At the barn?
No,
not
it's
at the barn.
It's
It's
in the
at-
Kohl Center.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
Kohl
that's a
Center.
huge game. If they can potentially win that, and a couple other teams have to lose, the Gophers are potentially running up for Big Ten champions. So that'd be huge for them. But any other basketball college teams you guys are looking to
North
make a run?
Carolina, UCLA,
Lonzo,
Kansas.
So we're still at the big names here.
A little bit.
I don't think
Kansas.
Lonzo
Kansas is
Ball
sick.
can carry his team all the way through.
I
mean-
watched him last night. He plays just as much defense as his brother LaMelo.
Yeah,
Not a
probably.
whole lot.
yeah,
They're real good at jogging.
I'm so
real
sick,
good
I'm
at
so
jogging.
sick of the Ball brothers. I'm so sick of them
Not a
already.
sprint
They're
team.
younger than me.
Not a sprint family.
I mean,
Jogger.
it depends where North Carolina. Obviously, they've been high explosive on offense with their young junior forward Justin Jackson and stuff. But I mean, they've kind of a little bit decreased. I mean, Virginia was like the worst. They scored the fewest points ever since the shot clock era with 43.
Yeah.
So it'll be kind of interesting. They are high offensive power coming through there. And then like Kansas, they have Mason the third, but I mean, they always seems like they do big in the regular season, but when it comes to like averaging the tournament, it seems like they always get knocked out the second round. So who knows with that?
I think that March Madness is another it's a fun time because you never know who really is gonna win, and that's the best thing about basketball. I gotta say is a lot of times this is the sport that underdogs can make a chance because basketball is such a game of highs and lows, and it's who can handle the pressure, who can handle the excitement and the atmosphere and whatnot. But we got a lot of hockey fans in here today, so I wanted to spend a lot of time on hockey as
My
well.
favorite part.
The Huskies, we won't spend too much time, but the Huskies, they have their last regular season home series this weekend against Colorado College, the Herb Brooks National Hockey Center, starting tonight at 7:37, and then tomorrow night at 7:07. It is senior night. Ben Storm, Nate Widman, and
Nicholas Nevalainen.
And Dan Tedesco.
Tedesco. There we go. I have trouble with that name too. They will be. This will be their last home series unless they get playoffs next week. But guys, I don't know if you looked at the NCHC standings, but they are super, super tight with the North Dakota, St. Cloud State, and Omaha. So this weekend's huge for them. What are some of your guys' predictions for the Frozen face-off that's coming up in a couple weeks?
Well, it's huge for the NCHC standings, but the main thing, as everyone knows too, is the pairwise. So
We're
what's
14
hard,
in the pairwise,
14.
right?
Yeah, so we're right there. I mean, it's too close for comfort, but it's like, this is a big weekend to capitalize for them, and I've just been like, you never know. This has kind of been like a up or down kind of team this year. So
for people who are watching, I don't know if you for sure know it or have it on your laptop right now, but give me the rundown of the NCHC standings as of now. I know Duluth, are
Denver,
they leading or is it Denver?
Minnesota,
Denver.
Duluth.
I need to know the exact. Do you
Yeah.
have it right there?
I don't know who's.
AJ,
Cloud.
Western
go ahead.
Michigan.
AJ, go ahead and tell us.
I know Denver's leading it with Duluth hot on their tail.
'Kay.
Those two are battling for the top spots. After them, you got Western Michigan.
Western at 3.
At that fourth spot, you're looking at
Nodak.
Nodak and
Yeah.
Nebraska Omaha actually tied right now heading
Yeah.
into the weekend.
And then we're
with,
at
1 point
we're
behind
And then the
St.
Huskies.
Cloud
When you
State.
say Nodak, you're saying North Dakota at 4, 5
Yes.
at, just in case people
Yep,
don't know,
yep,
5 at,
5 is Nebraska Omaha.
all right, 6
but
at
they're
St.
tied.
Cloud
No,
State.
They're
yeah.
tied.
Nodak and Omaha are tied.
Yeah.
And then we're at 5th. Which
Okay.
we, as in St. Cloud State, my bad.
Technically
Technically
6,
six.
I guess,
All
because
right.
those two occupy
Yeah,
2 spots.
yeah.
And then
With a point,
yeah, it's a point. It's a
away.
point. So it'll be interesting how
Right.
it plays out this weekend.
You know
for
what's
sure.
hard too is it kind of depends on this North Dakota game this weekend too about how they perform for next weekend. I don't know. I think we do. I mean, we should, as far as the NCHC standings and our records go, we should capitalize this weekend. I feel bad for saying we. Am I supposed to be neutral?
You're supposed
Go
to be.
Huskies. St. Cloud State, they do have to capitalize, but yeah, that the pairwise it's too close for comfort, and
Yeah.
it's crazy though how fast this season's gone. We're
It
already
is.
here, and it's like.
And of course, besides that, we always focus on the NCHC because St. Cloud State plays in that great conference.
And
but
it's the best conference.
I want to,
Seriously.
other teams outside of the NCHC that look like they can make a real run at it.
I thought the Gophers for a while.
I think both Boston teams could probably do something. Boston,
They always do.
Boston University, but they're both great. I love watching the Bean Pod every year.
Bean Pot's classic.
It's
What
so
about
good.
Penn State? Weren't
And
they
I
up
saw
there?
Harvard up there too. Are they still up there?
Harvard isn't bad. I don't know if they can win it, but they're not bad. That's for sure.
Yeah, Harvard's at 3rd right now. Minnesota's at 4th.
I'll give them a high five.
I'll give that Harvard high five. There you go.
So that's going on.
The Boston Coast. I don't even know if that makes sense.
Hockey East out there is they're another conference
that's hacky.
That's just as good as the NCHA. I think it's between those two conferences that always are winning for headlines. For the college hockey discussion. Besides college hockey, though, obviously the state tournament's next weekend. I'll let you guys talk about that for next week. I know Katie Emmer is from Delano.
Just want to give a shout out to Delano High School. The first time we've ever made it to state. Every year falls down to Breck, and they won last night, and I actually did start crying, so it was awesome.
That time you can say we.
Our whole entire,
from there.
You guys, I don't think you understand our whole entire town. We have 5,600 some people. Everyone was at this Parade Ice Garden in Minneapolis. It was just surreal. I wish I could be there.
Yeah,
go Tigers.
That's a good story.
I'm really excited.
That's a real good story. I wish we could say that, but
it's a tight-knit community.
we got a long road ahead for St. Cloud State Huskies. So they might make it all the way.
No,
they got a young team.
They
got
have
a great
3
coach.
Division I guys. They have a very good, strong core team. They have a lot of good point contributors.
Oh yeah.
Really quick too. So I don't know.
Lastly, before we head out here soon at the 12:30 dot, I want to talk about the NHL trade deadline. I know AJ, you wanted to talk about this. Sauceman's laughing a little bit.
I'm always laughing.
Yeah. Always laughing.
Such a good time we're having.
Yeah. What did you see with the trade line, with trades?
The Wild, it was a really slow trade deadline. That Wednesday was pretty slow. Not a lot of deals happened.
I was going to say it's kind of quiet. It wasn't a lot of noise.
But they're definitely, the Wild made a couple moves. They picked up Martin Hansel and Ryan White off the Coyotes in exchange for a first,
I like that White guy.
White, I like his dad.
Yeah.
I like his dad.
Yeah, he's got a great dad.
No, have you seen this?
No.
His dad just double bird salute to the fans on an away game after Sunset.
No way.
It was beautiful. It was hilarious.
It was beautiful.
But,
that's some character.
No, it's awesome to see. But I saw Shattenkirk go to the Capitals, and you're actually repping them right now. So I'm sure you know all about that one.
Katie loves the Capitals.
I know she does.
Yeah,
They'll strengthen their blue line.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely, which is what they need.
AJ.
What? Yeah.
Speaking of dads,
we
know it's Bobbie's last show.
It is Bobbie's last show.
And Bobbie, who watches the show every week.
Bob Bolig.
Bob Bolig, your dad.
After. My dad
the biggest
it.
one. So how about we bring in Bob and June Bolig for Bobbie's last show. I know Bob's been dying to get in here. For those of you on radio.
Awesome.
There's your
All right,
parents.
Dad, come on, you've always wanted to be on the show.
Yeah.
Hey, so
for those of you at home listening on KVSC, Bob and June Bolig, Bobbie's parents, who are super supportive of this show, big fans, just came in studio.
Awesome. You're gonna come over here.
Every time I see Bob, he's like, Jake, your things on TV aren't very good.
Yeah.
So what did I say wrong today?
We got my dad on the show.
You guys always do great. I listen 12:30 to 1 down at my business, 88.1 FM. Yeah, you guys do good. But one thing I have to say is, talk about NCAA tournament. Here's my
NCAA basketball.
All right, here's
all
my
right,
prediction.
Bob.
Okay, go ahead.
Gophers.
See, ask me where I get my content
Gophers
from.
versus Liberty. How's that?
Oh,
two of Bobbie's favorites.
Yeah, unfortunately, Liberty did lose yesterday, so they are out of it. But I got a funny story real quick before we get going. Is when I prep for this show, I sit with my dad and I type out almost every single word, what he's saying, and he watches all the time. So after the show, he always give me, what I did good or what I did bad, and I'm taking off here in next week, and I think I'm so glad these two came because they're my biggest supporters, and they make it every game, and if they're not making it, they're listening to it on the radio. So I know my dad's always wanted to be on this show, so Dad, I'm glad you made it.
Yeah.
What other predictions you got?
How do you feel about Adrian Peterson?
Yeah. Give us your real talk.
Big Vikings fan.
He doesn't have to go through me now.
I think he's not going to get as much money on the free market that he thinks, but I think he'll get more than the Vikings will offer him. So I think he's going to go to Dallas and just be like a person to sub in for Elliott and keep him fresh, the young rookie or the second-year guy, for the end of the year. So.
All right, Dan, before we go, you've always been a big Twins fan, and I'm always the one who's saying going for the Twins because you always kind of tell me to say that. So what do you think of the Minnesota Twins?
Well,
because these guys were dogging them. They're always dogging them.
Remember a couple years ago, guys, they went to the last weekend in the regular season in Kansas City. They were playing at Minneapolis, and if they would have swept them, they would have got into the playoffs. So I think last year was terrible. That 2 years ago were okay. I think this year is going to be a lot better. Not make the playoffs, but It should be a lot better.
Okay, Dad, and let Mom say hello to.
Mom, say hi to
Mom,
the viewers.
come on.
June.
Sports.
Hi, Bobbie.
Oh,
I
that,
just drive her to her sports. I'm good at that.
Yeah.
okay. She's another big supporter. Well, that was a surprise. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in on KVSC 88.1 FM. This is my final show, but this show will go on next week, same time, same place. I'm glad my dad got to finally appear on my last show. We'll be back next week.